Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life. I'm here today to do a book haul. This is part 2 of my summer book haul. I have 11 books to talk about to show you that I have picked up either at library book sale, used bookstore, and in the case of one from Paperback Swap. So let's get started. The first book I have here is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. This is a classic American literature. I picked it up at a used bookstore when I was camping. This is an epistolary novel. I may have read it when I was younger, but I can't quite remember. I sort of know the gist of the story, but that may just be from pop culture references and the fact that Oprah was in a miniseries about 8 years ago. I don't believe I ever watched that, but I may have picked up some of the storyline that way. So I am interested to give this another try. And I certainly do like epistolary novels, and this is, like I said, an important work that I feel like I should have read if I haven't. The next book I got from Paperback Swap, and it's Nick Hornby's Shakespeare Wrote for Money. This is a collection of his columns from Believer magazine. In these columns, Nick Hornby writes about his reading life. He writes about what books he's acquired and how they intersect, what he's reading intersects with his life. I really love his voice. He's very funny and poignant, and I very much enjoy these collections of his columns. The next bunch of books I picked up at the library book sale. This is a brand new, never been touched copy of Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I don't think that the spine was ever cracked. It's a beautiful copy. I've never read Villette. I've only read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I don't really know much about this classic other than it is Charlotte Bronte's most autobiographical work, and it's about a young woman living in France, and I believe it's about a failed love affair or some unrequited love or something like that in a boarding school. So interested to check that one out. I picked up Old Man's War by John Scalzi. I've only ever read one other John Scalzi novel, and that was one called Fuzzy Nation, which I very much enjoyed. So I've been on the lookout for another one of his books to try. This science fiction novel is about a time in the future when Earth has been at war forever, it seems like, and we've colonized other planets. And in this world, the old go to war and the young don't go to war. And so when you reach retirement age, you have the choice to go and fight and basically sign up for a stint in the military service. So this follows John Perry, who at the age of 75 enlists to go fight in the military. Looking forward to that. I picked up We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. In this novel, a family takes in a chimpanzee to raise as a child in their family, and the chimpanzee and the daughter are basically raised as twin sisters, and it sort of follows what happens to the family in the midst of this experiment of raising a chimpanzee as a child. And then picked up another science fiction novel, China Miéville's The City in the City. I have never been able to finish a China Miéville novel. I've tried a couple of different ones, but I've heard that this one is more like a sort of science fiction detective novel, which sounds intriguing. It's about two cities that are sort of layered on top of one another, I guess, and this detective has to navigate between the two and try to solve a mystery. So gonna give this one a whirl and see if I get on any better with China Miéville in The City in the City. I grabbed The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. This is an immigrant tale of a family that comes from Calcutta to America, and they place all their hopes and dreams on their son, their firstborn. I believe it's his son. Yes, his son. And obviously Jhumpa Lahiri is a, award-winning author. I have her short story collection, Interpreter Maladies, on my TBR. I haven't read it yet, but this, another brand new copy of a book, couldn't pass it up. I have here two short story collections that I've never read either author, but I've heard them mentioned in other folks' reviews, and I wanted to give them a try. First one is Lori Moore and her book, her collection of stories called Self-Help, which I have heard discussed, but I don't really know much about. And then How to Breathe Underwater by Julie Oringer, which is a debut collection, and I think has a lot to do with feminine issues and girls and sort of realistic realism short stories more than fantastical. So very much love this cover of these kids swimming in the river. I think it's a really awesome cover, and I'm very delighted to give this one a try. And another book that I've been looking for quite a while, I've had it on my radar and I've been wanting to read it since it came out in 2012, is Flight Behavior by Barbara Kingsolver. I've read her book, The Poisonwood Bible. I've read Animal Vegetable Miracle, A Year in a Food Life, which a nonfiction of hers, which I also really enjoyed. I think I may have read one or two others of hers, her older stuff. But this book has to do with climate change. And I do love a novel that has as its central premise something to do with science. I really like Barbara Kingsolver's writing, so I have really been wanting to pick this one up. I was very excited to see it on the table at the book sale and grab it. And then lastly, I picked up another Bill Bryson book. I've read several Bill Brysons. I enjoy his style of grumpy old man humor. This is a book that takes on his memories of growing up as a child in Iowa in the 50s, and how his imagination was captured by a comic book character, and basically talks about life in middle America in the 50s and everything like that. And I think, you know, he has a lot of humor in his writing. He has a lot of nostalgia in his writing. And I usually very much enjoy his books, so I'm looking forward to trying that one. And that is it for part 2 of my summer book haul. I do have another part of this book haul to film, and hope to get to that soon so I can get that done and move on to fall things. And I hope that everybody out there has been reading some good books, and I will talk to you later.